A toes to bar rep has 3 different components. There's a strength component, timing, and range of motion. To complete a full toes to bar rep and to be able to connect it to more, they need to have a pattern. And the pattern needs to be the same for each one. Here's how it's going to look in a pie chart. This pie chart represents a rep that can connect to another rep because it's balanced. I'll show you why. There is a strength component to all movements, and that means that you need to have the strength to adequately hang from the bar. And in this case of the toes to bar, you need to have the strength to produce enough power to get your legs all the way up so your feet can reach the bar. That's what would qualify enough strength for an actual full toes to bar. Timing and range of motion are 2 other components, and the way that they are drawn on this pie chart is evenly, or as even as I could do it with a pen. So we have the strength component, and that's going to represent the minimal amount of strength for these reps, okay? So anything less than that means it's either unsafe or a non-complete toes to bar rep where your feet don't go all the way up to the bar, but that would be okay too. That's how we train. We'll get to that. So we have the strength, and then we have timing and range of motion. The timing on a toes to bar is represented by the torso. The torso swings forward and the torso swings back. Now, this is important to understand because this is like the beat of a song where the drummer gets the beat. And so like a metronome, it goes tick, 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 tick. Your body swings forward and backward. In that same amount of time, the legs have to go from all the way back behind the body in what I call the loading position, which in this case is an arch, and then all the way up to the bar. It needs to complete that cycle of all the way back to all the way up to the bar in the amount of time that it takes for your torso to swing forward and backward. If the rhythm's off, we end up with a problem. Here, in this case, the athlete's legs are moving too fast. So the torso hasn't swung all the way forward. In this case, it would have been back here, and then now it's swinging forward, and their body is going to continue to move that way, but the feet have already come back and hit their stopping point, and now they're going to swing up toward the bar, and you can see that the bum kept swinging forward. And so the upper body was still moving when the feet reached the bar. In this example, the legs are moving too slowly. The arch is all the way up to the right point, feet stopped here, torso stops, that's 1 beat. And then when they go swinging to switch and the feet are going up toward the bar, if the feet take too long, the upper body has reached the end of its swing before the feet make contact with the bar. And because of that, this rep will not be able to connect to another rep that looks identical. What we want is for the feet to swing back as far as they can go and stop at the same moment that the upper body swings forward and stops. And the opposite is also true. We want the upper body to swing all the way back and reach its furthest point when the feet reach all the way up and make contact with the bar. By keeping this rhythm as you go through the toes to bar, you are going to have the ability to continue connecting your toes to bar reps. They will look identical, and the only difference between them is how much strength you have left over because of the amount of volume that you are doing. The more volume you do, obviously, your legs are going to get a little bit slower because you can't produce as much power, and therefore it starts to throw you off rhythm. Once you have learned this rhythm though, that is the most important part of the toes to bar sets, and you can work with that rhythm to build volume, even if you don't go all the way up to a full toes to bar. How we're going to train in this first 4 toes to bar program is going to be utilizing some key factors. One is that timing and range of motion absolutely have to match. If we learn how to do the technical part of the movement, it doesn't matter if you're weak or strong. If you don't know how to do the technical part, you're not going to be able to connect these reps very well. Technique is very important because if you don't know how to produce power, you're going to be wasting a lot of energy trying to create it through muscular contraction. Instead of trying to ask for you to do a full toes to bar up to here, what we're going to be doing in this program is asking you to do less, but still with volume. So eventually you will see in the program that we will have this. You still have the strength to hold on to the bar, but maybe you are lacking in range of motion, timing, and strength. And what that's going to be is an incomplete rep. This being timing and range of motion are still going to be balanced, but because you don't have enough strength, we're going to have to create volume with an incomplete rep and then be able to build strength through training the volume with less amount of load, which means without swinging your legs so high. Your toes to bar in this program are oftentimes going to end up stopping somewhere between horizontal and the bar. By stopping there, but continuing to do many, many reps, you're going to be training the insertion muscle of your abs in order to learn to develop the strength to swing your legs through and the technique in order to get that stretch through your quads and adductors to fling your legs through. Learning how to do these leg swings with the ab contraction is going to, over time, build you into the technique that you want for your full toes to bar, and it's going to pay off big time.